You have to take away everything that feeds cancer, otherwise, you're dead. And when it no longer has what it needs, it gives up the defenses it stole from us. You remove the cancer's possibility of nourishing itself and thereby growing. What was the role of fasting in your healing process, and what is the role of fasting today to maintain your health? So I will classify that answer in steps. 1. Mindset. If you don't tell your body that you want to survive, you will not survive. 2. Fasting. So fasting is essential because what does your body do? It's called autophagy. Another 2016 Nobel Prize winner, a Japanese professor. What does your body do? Your body is hungry and it searches through your body for anything that is deficient. And what is deficient? It's what is sick inside your body, such as cancer cells. And not only cancer cells. Your body, when it auto-repairs itself, it repairs absolutely everything. It doesn't say, there's rust, I'm not going to repaint, I'm just going to remove the rusty screw. No, it repairs everything. For me, it repaired my cancer, which was the thing that I fought for. But aside from that, I was surprised to see that my type 2 diabetes completely disappeared. I was surprised to see that my psoriasis I had monthly also disappeared. I was surprised to see that my blood pressure came back to normal. And what was the most obvious and so surprising? My hair, the hair on my head. I suggest you watch the video that I made with Thomas Seyfried. I believe that it was in 2000 or 2001. I had white hair. And I had a patch, basically a hole. I had no hair. And today, well, I have darkish gray hair again. I see better. I'm wearing my glasses from last year, or better yet, 2 years ago, because last year's glasses were hurting my eyes. The prescription was actually too strong. Regarding television, I used to need to raise the volume to level 30 to be able to hear properly. And today, I watch television on level 20. And this is what we call longevity, which truly, truly works. When you give your body what it needs, it is healthy. And when you feed your body poison, it will be unhealthy. It's that simple. What does our body need? Our body needs exactly what it's always had. These foods include natural whole foods. Vegetables, for example, which are a type of natural whole foods, we know are good for us. A couple 100 years ago, nobody ever ate fat, for instance. People only ate vegetables. And today, you have doctors who say, please be careful with vegetables. This vegetable isn't good for you. This vegetable has this in it. This one's dangerous for you. And it just really makes me laugh so hard hearing that from doctors. And why? Because I only ate raw vegetables for 2 entire years when I wasn't fasting. If it were dangerous, would I still be alive? I don't think so. Did you consume any animal products other than vegetables? Once in a while, I ate chicken. And of course, not the best one. There's a store called Costco that has a rotisserie chicken that's absolutely fantastic. And as my son would say, if it were so bad, you wouldn't be here. So I continued eating it sometimes. Vegetables, lectins. You have doctors who say they're all bad for you. I research and read a lot. And I like Harvard Medical School because they explain that it's bad for certain people. And these certain people are those who eat junk food and no longer have a correct microbiome. And having a correct microbiome means what exactly? It basically means knowing how to digest everything that our ancestors knew how to digest. So as of today, since we haven't eaten this specific vegetable for a very long time. For example, if you eat this vegetable now and swallow it, your body will be confused and say, "What is this thing?" But normally, your body should have what is needed to digest vegetables properly. So to remedy that, of course, prebiotics, probiotics, kimchi, sauerkraut, and kefir are all examples of what we can take to restore everything in our bodies. Personally, I started with juices, and the juices were absolutely terrible because there was just too much juice and not enough fiber. For Fred, it was catastrophic because he had ruined his microbiota and he could no longer consume fiber. So just yesterday, I wrote to Eric Berg, knowing that I was going to make this video with you. I asked him what his exact position was on this, and he responded exactly the same way I did. He agreed that people that are deficient, who have a deficient microbiome, cannot digest vegetables properly. But we must not blame the vegetables themselves. We must blame our microbiome. And it's exactly like that. It's like when we incriminate. We want to treat the symptom instead of treating the cause. It's exactly the same principle, the egg and the hen. In my own research till today, the reason why I created an alert about vegetables, lectins, etc. is because I have a part of my audience who have major digestive problems such as irritable bowel syndrome and some autoimmune diseases, particularly inflammation in the intestines. And I very sincerely think that temporarily anyways, in order to allow the body to recover initially, the elimination of vegetables and especially lectins and parts of fiber are important for a certain amount of time. On the other hand, where I agree with you 100% is on this idea of gradual reintroduction. I am living proof of this since I went from having irritable bowel syndrome, being inflamed absolutely everywhere, where I could no longer digest, to not so long ago, I ate almost all vegetables I wanted and as much as I wanted. That means that I was eating broccoli, sauerkraut, this, that, and everything was fine. The only thing that remained as a symptom was that I had bloating in my stomach. My lower stomach felt a little swollen, especially if I ate too much. I think it's also a question of quantity. It really is a case-by-case matter. You see, we were talking with Fred, and one of the big differences with you two is that his cancer is a colon cancer, and therefore, his microbiota was completely disrupted, and inevitably, his ability to digest all his vegetables was totally in the way. If today you feel good in your body and are able to digest your vegetables well, keep eating them. Where I think we agree, it's about quantity. I think it's really important to keep something that your body can handle and where you feel good with it, and not where you bloat and where you are inflamed and where it is difficult to digest. But once again, you said a primordial word: inflammation. So, what is inflammation? Inflammation is acid and can be any type of acid. In this case, for example, lactic acid, which is cancer. So what should you do? Mix baking soda with either lemon or apple cider vinegar. Why? Because baking soda has a pH of 9. So if you swallow the baking soda alone, because very often I am told that it is absolutely ridiculous to take one with the other, because one, the lemon or the apple cider vinegar, have a pH of 2, 3. So if you mix the two, it's no longer useful. But it is useful. Why? Because it can pass the digestive barrier relatively easily. If you only take baking soda by itself, what will that do to your body? It will create acid to compensate. If you only take vinegar by itself, apple cider vinegar, what will that do to your body? It's going to make baking soda to compensate. So when you take both, it goes into your body, and what It's in your body. Both lemon and apple cider vinegar have a pH of 9 after digestion. So pH of 9, what does that mean? That your body will absorb the excess acid that you have. So what do you prefer? That it kills your joints and then you're in pain, and then we talk to you about arthritis and osteoarthritis? If you watch my videos from 2 years ago, I could barely move my arm. I was in so much pain. And today, guess what? My pain is completely gone. I can now move my arm again. And how is that possible? Baking soda mixed with lemon or apple cider vinegar. And I talked to my doctor about it, and he also tried the same thing on some of his so-called incurable cases, since it's supposedly chronic. And guess what? Those patients are fully healed from this chronic illness. When you see that you can cure, and I mean cure, diseases that are so-called chronic, I'm talking about diabetes, I'm talking about psoriasis, tendinitis, arthritis, osteoarthritis. You can manage to cure everything. Our body is intelligent. You just have to give it what it needs. So it's easy to understand. In middle school, we all learned this in science. The experiment was to pour acid on a piece of limestone. What happened when the acid touched the limestone? It started to bubble, and the acid then disappeared thanks to the limestone. So similar to our bodies, when you have acid in your body, it will eat up the limestone where it is found, such as in your joints and your bones. If you give your body some bicarbonate, well then it stops eating your bones. It's really not complicated to understand that. So there you have it. It's easy peasy. I love it. Everything seems so simple with you. That is what I can't understand. No one wants to listen. It's so simple. It's so simple that people take me for an actual crazy person. You know, all my youth, I was fat and I was a joker. So my closest friends who really know me, they know. They followed my story. They know that I healed from cancer, being told that I was supposed to die. The others, however, still see me as a joker and tell themselves, yes, he's the one who always made jokes, blah, blah, blah. So they don't take me seriously. And unfortunately, those who are sick with cancer do die. Sadly, I can't really do anything about that. Now, let's talk about fasting. You mentioned that you have fasted for a total of 45 days, which seems totally insane to people. Fred spoke about his fast that lasted 21 days, and most people responded to that saying, you die without eating for 21 days, which is obviously completely false. But how did you feed your body? Did you take any supplements? Did you drink? How did you have the necessary nutrients to function? You're able to fast due to what I explained before, the principle of autophagy. But you must not have any deficiencies. Dangerous deficiencies are particularly minerals and vitamins. So, the person who explained this to me was obviously Professor Thomas Seyfried, who told me the story of one of his friends who was fasting for a very long time, and unfortunately, she died. She had her body donated to science, and when they did her autopsy, there was no trace of cancer, but she, however, did die of malnourishment. He advised her not to exceed 25 days in fasting. And in my case, after 20 days, before even knowing Professor Thomas Seyfried and speaking to him, by chance, but really by chance, I said to myself, it's been 20 days that I'm suffering, but not actually suffering, because after 3 or 4 days, when you go under ketones, your brain has understood that it has no food, and therefore it no longer demands any. Your stomach no longer says, I'm hungry. And it's true, you're truly not hungry. And you know what else? You're full of energy. The effect of ketone bodies is absolutely incredible. And so, after 20 days, I said to myself, what if I help my body? What my body is doing is getting rid of everything that's bad. So, what if I help the process? And what was helping my body? It was the research I had done on garlic, on lysine, on green tea, and other vegetables. So I was going to eat a maximum of 50 grams of foods that would kill cancer cells. So I ate a piece of raw leek, which is absolutely disgusting. But if you cook it, there's nothing left in it. I ate raw garlic. It's not great. I ate black garlic. It's actually pretty good. A stalk of broccoli, a stalk of celery, etc., once a day. But that's it. It was literally only one stalk, just about this big, and that's it, once a day. But that's all enough for you to feed yourself because the body is well made. It takes what it needs. And I said to myself, of course, zinc, magnesium, selenium, potassium. I took pills. And when I took my blood test, I saw that I wasn't deficient in anything at all. And so what did I do? I continued until today. I always take these vitamins. And when I receive my blood test results, I post the results on all my videos for you to see, to show you that everything I'm talking about is true. You could see for yourself that I am not deficient in anything at all, but even more so, that I have nothing in excess. And that's actually dramatic because that means that in today's foods, there's absolutely nothing left in it. No nutrients, absolutely nothing. Yes, because now that you eat quote unquote normally and you still take pills, you are not in excess. You are just at the right level. Absolutely. So it's terrible to see this. I don't know who, I don't remember who, but someone did tests on an apple. The apple was very, very large, so it was full of nutrients. Today, they are big like this. They're shiny, they're brilliant, they're just beautiful, but there's nothing left in them but sugar. This ties in a bit with a discussion I had with Julian Venison. He wrote very interesting books, like how modern wheat poisons us, how gluten is bad for us, etc., and I discussed with him regarding dietary supplement intake. He is someone who has a really very balanced diet. He eats vegetables, fruits, meat, fish, omega 3s. So, in regards to that, I would like to ask you a question on the subject right after. But, anyways, he said to me, in current food, it's really very difficult to have enough nutrients, particularly certain vitamins and certain minerals. So he tells me that he believes in taking basic multivitamins to have your essential vitamins and your essential minerals. He leans towards getting cheap health insurance. And I myself did some research on the subject. And I must say that so far I am quite convinced, like him, and when your system works well, a health insurance that includes multivitamin essentials that cost around 45 euros a month with vitamin D and vitamin K2, MK7 included, I must agree that it is a good idea indeed at that price. It's potentially worth it to have a health insurance, and your personal research guy seems to confirm this. But it's obvious. That is to say, when people tell me, but oh my God, it's so expensive. Are you kidding me? It's expensive? How about you eat a little less prepared food? How about you stop eating in restaurants? How about you stop drinking Coke? And how about you stop drinking any type of soda? And you will see that you will have money left over at the end of the month, having bought everything you need for nutrients. So what should you take first, actually? You said it, vitamin D3 MK7 with the vitamin K2 MK7. We must also take vitamin C, since obviously our body can't find any anywhere. It should be noted that Eric has just made a video, today actually, on what we call nutritional yeast, and to have nutritional yeast for B1. All vitamin Bs are essential vitamins. There are also minerals, but the minerals that we cannot find, of course. I say you shouldn't take iron because iron is truly everywhere. I also believe that you don't need calcium, since calcium will block our arteries. And in regards to vitamin D3, that is why we take the vitamin D3 with the K2 MK7, because it removes the calcium, which is in our veins or in our arteries, to put it where it should be, which is in our bones or in the joints. So, in my opinion, for me, it is not necessary to supplement with calcium. One should not do this supplementation. In regards to B12, very often you can have too much, but everything else you should be supplementing. And on my website, survivefromcancer.com, I have made available to all of you our anti-cancer protocols and our nutrition protocols on this subject for free. Yes, I will repeat, for free. Now that I'm actually talking about it, let me bring it up because we often forget. Fish. Fish is an important one because we need to avoid at all costs any fish that is farm raised. Farm raised fish eat everything and anything, and they are absolute poison. There are European countries that are seriously thinking about banning farmed salmon. I don't know if it's done or if it's not done to the extent that it is that dangerous. But it's not done yet, and it would be a huge change. Because for us, for example, where we live, there are no other salmons other than farm raised. It's really very difficult to find wild salmon here. But either way, Guy, what is your position in relation to, for example, the intake of omega-3s, perhaps sardines or mackerel? What is your point of view? The absolute best source of omega-3s is, of course, krill oil. Krill oil is easy. You take a pill and there, you have your dose. Now, in regards to actual food, it is cod liver oil. They sell cans of cod liver oil, which has the actual oil in them. First of all, it's delicious, delicious, delicious. This is certainly where you find the most and the easiest absorbable. One thing to note, however, is that the box is a little big to eat in one sitting. So if you don't finish it, it will smell a little fishy the next day. So you just have to know that. But of course, in my case, I love to eat. So I obviously finish it. And there's no issue with that. Next, we also have sardines in olive oil. Although we cannot know if it is real olive oil or not, sardines in a can filled with olive oil are great. Everyone thinks that because it's in a can, it's not healthy. Well, that is completely wrong. Anchovies, sardines, herring, all are perfectly delicious and healthy in a can filled with olive oil. Here are all the small fish. And if you go to a fish market, please make sure to buy all the fish that are small, not the big ones, because those big ones are filled with mercury or other heavy metals. And if you happen to be eating big fish or have eaten these big ones, please take a supplement that eliminates these heavy metals from your body. I note because I made a video on this subject, or in fact, I tested myself a few months ago because I ate a lot of canned tuna, which is a big fish, and my mercury levels were really, really too high. So I have obviously already changed tuna out of my diet, or tried to. I think in the last 6 months, I must have probably eaten tuna maybe 3 times. And so, this supplement to remove heavy metals from your body, I'm very interested in hearing more about that guy. It's very decently priced on Amazon. It's a powder, and if you eat vegetables or if you eat a salad, you just sprinkle it in there, or you can even drink it. But the thing about putting it in your salad is that you won't even know that you put it there. And then at the same time that you're absorbing these metals, your body will also be ejecting them. Guy, in regards to fasting, what is your position for someone who is healthy and who in all is not in a situation of cancer or post-cancer? What do you think of fasting? I will say on a weekly basis, maybe once a week or not. I don't know what your recommendation to maintain our health is. I had a discussion with Fred on the subject and it was very interesting, but I'd like to hear your opinion. There is something that is rather crucial, in my opinion, and it is that we have formed a habit of eating 3 times a day. I believe this to be absolute nonsense. But for all the people who do what we call longevity, we see that when we occupy our stomach and our liver to digest, well, the liver has 3,000 things to do, and it can't do them anymore because instead it's stuck digesting. So I personally think that we should eat at most twice a day, and in that regard, Eric Berg and I agree, and he states that we should be eating at 9 in the morning and then again at 11 in the morning. Myself, for instance, I only eat at 9 in the morning when I'm on vacation or with company, where we meet up in the morning and eat something small for breakfast. But when we eat lunch at 1 p.m., we have 20 hours of autophagy left per day, minus an hour or two of digestion. But let's count 1:30 p.m., where you basically finish eating your lunch. So it then restarts the next day at 9 in the morning, where we then have around 20 hours of autophagy left. So it's perfect, and we're not hungry. And I can assure you that after 3 days, you really, really won't be hungry anymore. If now, on top of that, you have the courage to fast once a month, that's enough. But not less than 72 hours, because deep autophagy begins or ends at around 72 hours. There are many researchers who say that after 72 hours, it is no longer of any use because the body has already done its job. But in 71 hours, the body has not even started yet. So it's really 72 hours. So what I personally do is try 72 and a half hours just to be sure. But sometimes I also do 5 days. Sometimes I also do a week. But it's more unjustified anxiety than an actual scientific reality. I do it more to reassure myself at the moment. Those who have the courage to do intermittent fasting between 6 and 8 hours without eating for at least 18 hours every day, and even more so those who do not eat anything once a month for 3 days, are safe from truly any metabolic disease. Well, Guy, I really want to thank you. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I am absolutely certain that I will receive a lot of questions. And in addition, you have already opened up to me the possibility of a second interview. And so I'm already telling you that I would be delighted to have you on the channel again. What would you like to leave us with to finish this podcast? A big thank you because you broadcast, because you help people. There are almost 10 million people who die every year from cancer. So I'm not saying we're going to save all 10 million people, you know. I tried to save famous people, and these famous people were too famous to believe a regular samurai. Thank you again, Guy. It was really very, very interesting. I put all the links in the descriptions to your channels and your books. Everyone, please go to see the channel. But if I have a recommendation that I could make, it's to read the book. I find that your book with Fred is absolutely fascinating because it is very concrete.